This is audio video check one, let's say. It'll probably be the only audio check that I do. And I'm just making this video because I want to test my articulation and how much my RAM memory is increased, how my RAM, not my RAM memory, my RAM or my fluid intelligence has increased because I'm almost in like a second state right now, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the dual two back that I'm using to increase my IQ, and it might be that, and it might be the incredible straining exercise that I did, the dual and back exercise. It could be I'm sleep deprived because I've been getting an average of like 5.5, 4.5 hours of sleep for like the last week. It could be that. I don't know. So this is just gonna be a test video, I guess, not an audio test video. I'm committing to switch it to a test a testing video. And this video is not gonna be long. I'm really using this. I've just taken a shower, if you don't know. I just got back from work and I just did my dual and back training. And I'm now at dual three back, okay? And I did the training in during my lunch break, okay? I got a lunch break, and the reason I did the training is because I was in an almost different state. I was realizing as I woke up this morning how I was at work, and because I was the morning shift, we don't have a lot of customers, especially since summer's ended. I work in fast food, if you didn't know. So summer's pretty much ended, and I was working, and we didn't have much customers, but I noticed my thoughts were more structured, and my logic, how I structured my thoughts was better. Um, and I don't know why that was. And I was thinking it was maybe the dual and back training. I don't know. And I was so curious about it because I was like speaking like I was on, like the words were just coming out of my mouth in my mind, of course, I'm fast food, so I'm making burgers and fries or whatever. Mainly fries. Today I was on fries. I was dropping fries and whatever, and I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking in my mind, and usually I have to think every once in a while about a for a certain word or something. Like maybe I need a better word to qualify, or clarify this word or whatever, or clarify my thoughts in my head, and then usually I have to take a little bit of time to think about it and then go, oh yeah, it was this, this, and this. But today the words were just snapping in place, and I really don't know why, and I was so confused. And it was like I was in a second state, like the upgrade in my RAM, because that's what it was. It was my fluid intelligence. It had to be that, because it was like words were coming out of my mouth, and all of my ideas were like interconnecting together, and I was like buzzing through so many different ideas. It was almost like I wasn't focusing on the work. I was really focusing on what my thoughts were, or this or that. And I was really like so weirded out. I was in like a state, and I'm still in that state where I was like the pretty much the first couple hours I was like, what's going on with me? Like why are my thoughts so good and why are everything snapping like and everything and how why am I not studying on words or I'm not going or what's that word again or something like that or this or that, and it was like words coming were coming to my mouth, and like I could remember things, and I could remember where strips went and stuff like that, because there's two sides that I cook for. I cook for the chicken stuff for it because I'm dropping it in the fry oil and then bringing back the chicken, and then I hand it to them on either side, depending on which side needs them or whatever. And usually they call for it, so they'll be like, "Oh, I need 12 strips or whatever," and I drop 12 strips in the oil, and when they're ready, I'll come up and I'll take it to them. Well, usually I forget who gets what or which gets which, or, which gets which, or how many strips I need or whatever. But today it was like super fast. Like I didn't need to worry about that. And so during my break, I tested for about 10 minutes. I tested in and back, and I was on step two, and I was still on step two when I did the 10 minutes of it. So I was kind of confused because I was like, logically, I should be increasing or whatever. And so I was so confused because if you don't know um, it has different levels to it. And in back, you can look this up. Dual in back. I do the dual version. There is the quad version. I don't know how people do that. That's probably gonna wait till I get to like dual seven or dual seven back or whatever. Um, but the way it works is basically you have to complete each level to like 80% right to move up. So you go from like dual one, dual two, dual three, all the way up. And the dual stands for inputs. So in the game, you have two inputs for dual, which is the audio, which is a letter. So it's like A, B, C, D. It can be any letter. And then its position. And the way the position is correlated is there is three rows by three rows of squares. So there are nine squares in total, three, 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 for three rows by three columns, okay, of squares. And basically what happens is it'll say an audio, so it'll light up one square, so it'll light up the right bottom right one, let's say, and it turns and it says H, and then it will light up another square or the same square for the next round and say the letter, any letter, or it could be the same letter again, or it could be another letter, and then you do that. And so that's how it works. And basically, what you have to is I was on dual two, okay, during my break, and that's what I've been like, and I've been struggling with dual two. And what dual two is you have to remember um, two sequences in a row. So let's say it was the bottom right corner for the first part, it was a D bottom right corner. Okay, bottom right corner. And then it was a middle square S. Okay. And then I have to remember if it goes back to the other square. Okay, it goes back to the bottom right one and it's the same letter. Okay. Then I press same position and same letter. Okay. So that's what you have to do. You have to basically in two sequence in a row, you have to keep up with the letter or the audio, what the audio says and what the position of it is, what the position of the square and its letter in audio two two steps before. And you got to keep doing this. And so if you get to dual three, it's three steps, and then dual four, four. And during my break, I was in dual step two, and I actually regressed a little bit because I had been getting to like dual step two 50%. And then I regressed and I was getting like 30%. And then I went to dual one, which is, you know, if you have a letter and a position, then the next in the sequence has to match it. And if it matches or the position matches, you press like a button. So you press the position is matched or the audio is matched or both. Okay, it can be both. And I was like a little bit confused because I was literally thinking in my whole shift for the first couple hours and even after that I was kind of going back over it like why has my cognition changed so much? Why can't I remember all this stuff? Why are the words coming out of my mouth? Why do I recognize all the words and everything? Why do I not have to remember the words and take a couple of seconds? And it was like my whole memory was speeding up and my recognition of things it was increasing. And it's a drastic improvement. It's like two times. And if you notice my voice, if you notice the video, I don't know if I will post this or not, but I'm not using as much like ums or ahs or any of that stuff because I was using that because I was having to think about my words. Because even though my words were coming into my head, okay, so I would think up a sentence in my head, but I would mispronounce it. I would mispronounce it for whatever reason. I would be like, oh, I'd be at work or whatever, and I'd say, oh, that was so funny, and I meant to say, that wasn't funny, or something like that. Or instead of saying like a full sentence that had meaning, I'd say like two words instead, like a quick word or whatever. And I didn't mean to do that. And for whatever reason, that's been happening for like the last year. And maybe it was because I used to have to do speech therapy when I was a kid, and now I think it was coming back, but I did the dual and back training, and it's like today I didn't have to worry about that at all. My words were like super clear. I could talk, I could say what I want, and it was like precisely what was in my mind because had been having problems with that, and I was wondering how I could fix that, and I thought maybe the dual and back could help me with that because it's supposed to help with fluid intelligence, or basically, if you think of your mind as a computer, it basically helps with the RAM and increases your RAM. So, like, if you need to remember phone numbers or whatever, someone hands you a phone number, you can remember it for like the next 15, 10 minutes. It's short-term memory, but it's very useful. And I was always horrible at that. So, like, if someone sent me a notification code, I'd always have to copy it, or like if a service sent me one, I'd always have to copy it and then put it in the um, you know, bar they have where you post the confirmation text or email. And that's what I used to have to do, where I used to have to go back and check and back and check. And now I didn't have to do that for today, but for whatever reason, like that's why I'm not using a lot of ums or things like that. If you notice, there's a couple, but it's way better. Like my videos, my hour-long videos, they were like 100 or like 300 ums or ahs and filler words and all of that stuff. And it made the video quality of my videos not that good. And I understand that my videos aren't probably getting a lot of views. That's probably one of the main reasons. And I was so shocked today, and I wanted to make a video to kind of test if my articulation, if I'm not being like biased or whatever, because I already knew dual and back training can increase your fluid intelligence. There are studies that say it does, some say they don't, others say it doesn't transfer over to other skills. You only get good at the game. But so far, I'm seeing results just one day of intensely doing it. So I did it for 30 minutes, and I stared at that screen and I was doing it, and I was stuck on duel 2 or whatever, and I was really going hard on it, and that was like basically my first session. I had done like a 15 session like 2 days before, but like it was just getting to know the game and how it worked and everything, and finding the game and everything. But this last night, whenever I did it, oh my god, and I did it right before I studied for accounting. I did it at like 7 or 8, and then I studied to accounting for like 4 hours until I went to sleep at 12, and then I woke up at 6. But oh my god, it like my mind has changed so much. It's like a double increase, and I just wanted to make this video to see if it's for real. Like, it's not just me thinking, "Oh, I know Dolenbach's gonna increase my IQ or whatever, or increase my fluid intelligence, and I'm biased towards that thought, and so now I'm speaking better." No, this is a drastic improvement if you've seen my previous videos, and I don't know how it's happened, and I hope this is like a long-term thing. I'm gonna continually do the Dolenbach training because evidently doing it for one time for 30 minutes has increased my fluid intelligence so much. It's made it it's made my life so much easier, at least at work. And even these videos are probably going to be way easier, and the video qualities are going to be way better. And I was so surprised. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was so surprised. And I did not expect this. I knew it could increase Dolan back, could increase fluid intelligence or your RAM, but I really did not think that. And so I was really surprised. And we shall see. My sister's coming back, so they'll stop the video. But coming up, my video should be of better quality. But yeah, I got up to Dolan back 3. I've gotten to 3, and I was very surprised today. So I thought I didn't improve much on it, but evidently I have. I've improved by to the next level, and that showcase because now I'm reaching at Duel 3. I'm reaching at like 50%, and yesterday I did Duel 2, and I couldn't even get to Duel 3, which you have to get 80%. And so I do think my fluid intelligence has increased, and it might just be today. We'll have to see if the results keep going. I'm resting right now because I did dual back for 30 minutes or whatever, yeah, and I went up to 3. I warmed up with it or whatever, and the first couple were not good. They were still at 2 or whatever, and then I basically then I got to Duelback 3. Okay, now the bad thing is the website I was using for Duelback 3 did not allow me to use Duelback 3 unless I sat for like a minute or two waiting time for game or whatever. And thankfully, I had downloaded a offline software that does it and goes up to like Duelback 20 or whatever and has quad base. It also has the quad where you can do 4 inputs or whatever. And so thankfully I had that. But I got up to 3 pretty quickly. And then I got up to like an average of 50% on 3, which was shocking because the day before I was at Duelback 2 and I was very shocked. Like, oh my God. It shows my cognition, or more specifically my working memory has improved a lot. And I was almost doing it like instinctively. I had a lot of trouble with Dolback too, and I was using like a chunking method. That's what I was using. So you kept the letters and the positions in your mind for 2. So you keep them as like a row. So you'd have ST and then you would, let's say you got ST and then you got a V and then it would become TV, and then you got an S, and then it would become VS or whatever. And I did that, and that's how I um, basically was trying to pass. But today, for Dolback 2 and for uh, Dolback 3, but mostly Dolback 2, I could do it instinctively. I didn't really need to chunk. I was just doing it instinctively. And even in Dolback 3, it was getting hard to chunk. Like, even I was doing instinctively Dolback 3, and that allowed me to get to the 50%. However, I was also trying to chunk it with 3 or 4, but I didn't have a lot of time because it's going by really quickly. And the more letters before you have to recall the sequence, the more letters in a sequence that you have to recall and remember and add on to, the harder it is because you have the same amount of time but an extra letter and position, and you keep doing this longer until you get to like 20, Dole 20 or whatever, and that becomes pretty much impossible for humans to do unless you're using like specific memory techniques or whatever. And so I was really surprised because I got that 50% mostly with instinctual on dual back 3. I got 50%. That was on average 50%. That was pretty much half of that was, or like I would say 75% of that half that I got right was instinctively because I was using my intuition, and then the other half was my chunking method, and I've gotten better with the chunking method too. And so I wasn't wrong. For whatever reason today, my working memory has increased drastically, and I just wanted to make a video and see if I can make a video with a little amounts of ums and ahs and everything. And I guess I'm right because I've been counting how many ums and ahs, or like I've been keeping track of that, and I haven't really said a lot, maybe like 10 max, or maybe like less than that. And I'm so surprised by it. But so I wanted to do a video on that, and I'll probably be posting this as a quick video because it's not like my hour videos that I do on Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm probably gonna, and I know it's at my house too or whatever. So we'll see, but this is probably going to be a short video to update my how my cognition changed. I will also want to update you a little bit about my life. So Tuesday, be doing the weekly update video for improvements in my life. I got a lot to talk about because that's my first week of, this is my like first week of keeping track of, because I think I started Wednesday, either Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Wednesday, yeah, is tracking all of my time. And so I've got a lot more things done this week. A lot more, a ton more. I've gotten so productive with the time tracking. Like, I wish I did it sooner. I use one that does a button where you press a button and it starts this clock, or you can do it like manual where you enter it in. I don't like doing manual because I can lie to myself. I like to do the clock thing where it counts up and then I stop it and then I put in what I did during that time. I think that's better, but I've been way more productive. And of course, as I'm doing more productive things, I've been realizing that there's a limit on my ability to do things. I reach my mental cognitive load for the day. And so it's really hard. Like that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing this video because one, my parents aren't home, and I don't like doing videos when my parents aren't home. So it's pretty quiet, but also it's I'm de-stressing my mind from the cognitive stress because if you don't know that dual and back training, to really be effective at it, you really have to concentrate and just focus on the squares and the positions in the thing and doing it. Because evidently, and it also kind of gives you like a headache or it makes you really exhausted. I'm not as exhausted as I was yesterday because yesterday I went full ham for 30 minutes on it. And I think that's what brought the gain in cognition. So far I've gotten benefits from it. The forums and everything said it would take like 6 months or like longer, and most of the studies say it doesn't have any effect primarily because most of the studies are flawed. They don't do it for a year long or 2 years, and the motivation for the study is, students who are getting paid or getting credit for a class to help with the study and be in the study or whatever. They're not really motivated to improve their IQ or mind. So that's what episode 2 or week 2 life update video is going to be. It'll probably be a little bit longer because I have so many things to talk about. My life's almost completely changed in the last, week drastically. As you can see, my eye bags are really deep because I've only been getting like 5.5 hours of sleep 6 hours of sleep because I've been so productive and I want to do so many things. And that's another problem is I want to have all these different hobbies, and even with the time tracking, I can't keep track of. I can't do so many of them. There's so many things I want to do, so I have to like prioritize on what I'm doing, and right now it's the uh, financial accounting class for YGU. Because I'm still on track to get my bachelor's in a couple of months, and so I have to do all that. And then Thursday, I've I've done it on. I have my Thursday video day ID already, and I've started working on it. And I've already put a teaser on the blog, so I know I didn't have a blog on last week, but I created a blog. It's tylerdrunenblogs.com. It's linked to my YouTube. I linked it to my YouTube, and so you'll probably see this, and you can go and check the blog. And I did a little bit of a teaser there, and I'm uh, I'm doing that on Thursday, and it's one of the um, things I can do it on that's an hour long because Thursday is the information based video. So if you don't know or first time watching this video series or video channels or any of the videos on the channel, I do 2 videos a week minimum. Sometimes I do three, or I said I would do three. I don't know if I've done that yet, but 2 videos minimum uploaded Tuesday and Thursday. Usually I do them at my local library at a college, community college. And so usually I do Tuesday. My Tuesday video is my video update, weekly update video. And then Thursday I upload the information based video, and that's an hour long video like all my videos are. This might be an hour long video. It might become that. It's a hour long video on how I solved the problem in my life, or there's some problems in my life that I solved personally. I don't like being the informer, like, how do I increase intelligence or whatever, and then I look up 10 things and I tell you them and I've never done them. Or I say, oh, you should use meditation because studies show it shows happiness increases or whatever, but I've never done it. And so I don't want to be like that. I'd rather take action in my real life and then report that to you guys. So that's what this YouTube video channel is about, is reporting my life progress. And so I kind of show my um video video through videos. I show my problem solving, how I solve my problems in my life. And the last two info based videos I have done are my skincare one, which did really good. That's my best video, and I know my hair's kind of messed up. I keep messing with it. I gotten 700, I think like 650 views on that one, which it blew up. All the rest of my channel videos have like 10 views. I think that's what's gotten me the majority of my 9 subscribers. I'm waiting for the 10th one and then I'll celebrate it. Like, I'll probably make a video that day. Even if I'm at home, I'll do it in my car. Maybe I'll do it in my room. I don't care if my dad sees it. And I'll do like a 10-minute, or, a video celebration of 10 subscribers. And and so that's my info-based video is coming out Thursday. But I did it on skincare. My 2 videos ago that was on skincare, and then the previous info-based one was how I stayed lean, eating fast food majority of my diet, pretty much all of my diet, because I work at fast food and I eat only in fast food those days, and then the days off I'm usually in Pensacola, which is 40 minutes away from my home, so I got to eat out there. And so I'm eating out fast food most of the time, or I'm eating burgers, usually burgers. That's what I like to eat. I love burgers. I found that out, and so I eat those, and I talk about how I stay lean and how I went from 130 pounds to 150 pounds, and then I cut back to 140 at a 15% body fat, and I've gained about 10 pounds of muscle, which is, surprising because most of my coworkers are fat, which sucks or whatever. And I was talking to my coworkers and they were like, "Oh, what do you weigh or whatever?" And I was like 140, and Maria, which is one of my coworkers, she's like a team leader. She's not a manager, they haven't promoted her manager, but she's team leader. They kind of do the same thing as manager. She was like, "No way, I'm the same weight as you or whatever." And she's like kind of fat or whatever. She has a stomach or whatever. She's not very fat, but she's still kind of fat. And um, she was like, "That, like, disappoints me so much," or whatever. And I was like, I almost wish I showed her the picture that I had taken in the selfie of my upper body that I had taken for the video that I released, which was my video previous video, which was the fitness update, or how it wasn't really about fitness. It was mainly about how I, kept my weight underneath, or how I decreased my weight eating fast food. It wasn't really about my workout program because I've gained 10 pounds. So I had taken a selfie picture in the bathroom for that, which I had never done before. So it's not great quality. It's not a great quality selfie. But yeah, she was like, "Oh, I'm kind of disappointed, whatever, because like you're the same weight as me, and look how skinny you are compared to me." And I was thinking in my head, yeah, that's probably because majority of her weight is like fat or whatever, and the majority of mine is muscle. It used to be I was fat, I was just skin, bones, and fat or whatever, and then I gained 10 pounds of muscle and everything, and I cut down my body fat percentage. And so the next video on Thursday will be resonating with music, and it's the technique I use. I don't want to get into too much depth into it. I want to be that on a Thursday video, but essentially it's the way I regulate my emotions. It's the way I learned to regulate my emotions. So I've been doing this for years, resonating with music. Um, there are different forms of it. I don't know anyone else who does this, and I've you basically attune yourself to music emotionally. So, for example, you're listening to music that's very poppy, motivational, or whatever, and you attune to that, and that music basically changes your emotions. Not changes, it either amplifies or dulls your emotion, depending on what you want to do and how advanced you're in this technique. And you can use that to kind of control your emotions. So you're using the external environment, which in this terms is music, to control your emotions. And I've been good at this since I was a kid, and I didn't know a term for this. I naturally discovered this. Now, I wasn't very good at it for a while, even after doing this for 10 years. It's was because of technology problems. I'll talk about that in the video, but I wasn't really good at it until I came back home and I started to really focus on it, and I ended up getting some new technology, which I'll talk about, that helped me with it. It's like $10 a month. It's a membership that I got to help me increase my ability with this because this is a skill. It's not like a thing you learn and just forget about it. It's a skill that naturally you do get better at. And I've been doing this as a kid, and it's had weird effects on me, but also my music taste. And so I wanted to do that. I want to do that episode on that because I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks. It came up in my head while I was in my car and I was attuning myself to the music I was listening to, and I came up with that. Well, why don't I talk about how I'm able to enjoy music so well? And I had to realize, like, well, what do I enjoy about music? And I had to really think about it because a lot of this stuff I had been doing subconsciously. Now, in the last 2 years, I've really mastered it because of the new technology that's let me get better at it faster and faster. Now, I would have gotten better at this skill in a longer period of time if I didn't have the technology I have now, which is a membership. It's $10. No, I don't sell it. It's a service that you get, and it's $10. I'll just say it out loud. It's Spotify Premium. If you get a premium, or you can do any song membership thing where you can skip songs. Okay, you want to basically get where you can skip songs, and you can get algorithms that suggest new songs to you. I'll talk about that in the video. But it's had drastic effects on my life, and I looked back at it and I was like, well, I've been doing this all my life, realize, realizing back on it. Like I've been realizing back that I've been doing this all my life since I was a kid, since I started learning music. And I was like, well, how did it affect my music taste? And then I realized, hey, that's why my music taste is so broad. And this way of thinking about music and the skill of listening to music broadens your appreciation of music genres, and I'll talk more about that in the video and all the benefits. Now, I'll also have to talk about the downsides, and there are a ton of downsides to it. The main one is if you attune yourself to music, so you manipulate your emotions with music, you can get into situations where you basically manipulate your emotions out of control. Or the so this skill amplifies your emotions or dulls your emotions. And if you amplify your emotions too much, you go into like a trance state. Um, you which I've only experienced this once at a nightclub, which which was very enjoyable. So I have to admit this skill makes listening to music more enjoyable. However, you can have a loss of control if you get too much into the music, if you attune yourself, I guess, to the music too much. Unfortunately, that makes concerts suck for me, or I assume they would suck. I've never been to one, I don't want to be one, because if I don't attune myself to the music, I don't get the full benefit of listening to it. So I don't like it as much. I don't vibe with the music as much. However, if I go too deep into it, if I do turn on and I start tuning to myself to music, because of how strong the music is at a concert and all the environment and everything, I will tune too deeply and I'll go out of control. I'll lose a sense of control. And that's happened once in my life, and I'm a person with a strong sense of control, so I don't want to do it again. So I guess that's a drawback. And I'll talk about other things, but it's been 33 minutes. I gotta go because it's 5:30 p.m. I gotta upload this video, but the main things I gotta do is I'm learning to paint. So that's an update, part of the update video, but I'm learning to paint. So I gotta paint for like an hour. I got watercolor paints and I gotta paint for an hour. Sorry if the audio is quiet. I'm kind of talking pretty low. And I have to study for accounting, my accounting class. I gotta study for 6 hours. So studying until 12. Yeah. However, because I made this video, I'm probably gonna be painting till 7, and so I'll get 5 hours of study versus 6. We'll have to see. I'm trying to take my OA on Tuesday, which is the exam they have to pass the class. So we'll see how we do. That's the main thing in my life that I'm focusing on right now is the financial classes, or not, more specifically, getting my degree in a couple months, getting my bachelor's, because that'll bump my income. That'll double my income, really. It'll double my income. I'll have a better job that's safer, that's healthier, that's an office job or whatever, and I'll have more time to do other things, to increase the my life and increase my life progress. Because right now, a lot of things I can't do. I don't have enough time, but also I don't have a lot of money. I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough space. I don't have my own room to do stuff or experiment with. Then, like, I can't buy nootropics if I ever wanted to do that. I've never really thought about it, but if I ever wanted to buy nootropics, which are like drugs that increase intelligence, or are supposed to, they're like supplements that do that. I can't do that right now because I don't have money, or I can't experiment with that. And so I I gotta do that. That's the main focus. Another thing I wanted to, this video is mainly about dual and back. Another increase I've noticed is my REM sleep has increased by like 10%. I don't know if that's because I have sleep deprivation or the stress of studying and all that stuff and having to do all this stuff because I looked it up, and REM sleep increases when you're more stressed or you're more sleep deprived. And so it could be that. It could be I'm getting 5.5 hours of sleep. My sleep scale that I do, or my Fitbit that tracks my sleep, shows that I have a fair sleep amount, even though I'm getting 50% or I'm getting 5.5 hours of sleep on average. Last night I got 4.5, and it still gives me a fair morning. I guess it's because I got a lot of REM sleep. I didn't have as much waking up in the night because if you didn't know, I didn't know this before tracking my sleep. If you wake up in the middle of the night while you're sleeping a lot, and it's only for like a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and so you don't remember it and you fall back asleep. So that like knocks out 30 minutes of sleeping from everyone's schedule of sleep. And then I realized, oh, hey, I'm already getting like 5 hours of sleep. I'm going to sleep 5 hours in advance, and then 30 minutes of that is getting knocked off because I'm awake during while I'm sleeping because I keep waking in and out. That's normal, so I don't have a thing with that. It's not like I wake up every night, like 10 times a night for 10 minutes each or for like a couple minutes each. No, it's just like in and out. You're laying in bed and you kind of wake out. You don't remember any of it. But my REM sleep has gone from like 20 to 25% to 30 and 35%. And so I think it's because I've stressed my brain out so much during dual and back training and also studying for financial accounting for like 4 or 5 hours. I've never really done that where I study every day for 4 or 5 hours. I have become more productive because I used to after work I was exhausted. I used to be one of those people who thought after work I couldn't do anything, or I just had to sit in bed or sleep in bed or relax all day like my coworkers do, but evidently not. Once you get used to it, and I guess you find the motivation. Uh, that's another thing I'm gonna do in the life update. Made the I've made a note list of all the accomplishments I make during the week, the small wins, the big wins, or whatever. So I passed some tests. Like I passed my Excel class. So I didn't know if you knew that it's gonna be in the update video. I passed on the first try after failing the pre-assessment. So I failed the pre-assessment, and then the later part of the day, I took the actual OA, the assessment that's proctored and everything, where they watch you, and I passed that. And so that was like the exam I was worried about, and I passed it. Sorry, my headphones are getting in the way, and I passed that. And so now I want to do that with the financial accounting. Now, of course, I have some knowledge of financial accounting before, because I've taken a class before, but so this is all coming back to me. And I think the doing back, the training, the increase in REM has basically increased my confidence in passing the class. But yeah, I'll talk about that in the life update video and everything. I have to say, doing like the blog post and doing the hour-long info-based videos is hard. The weekly updates aren't hard because I'm trying to do stuff and I can fit everything I do into an hour. Like, not easily. I don't mean fit into it. I have so many things nowadays that I can fit it all into a video and it's at minimum an hour long. Okay, so I have a lot of ideas. I have things to do. I can put it in. I don't really have to do any scripting for that. About the info-based videos, I have to do a lot of scripting. I've been using ChatGPT as an AI. I have a subscription for it. I've been using that almost to clarify my thinking, not to write out my script or I don't really do the script. My script is just what I'm going to talk about. It's not like word to word or anything like that. It's just to clarify my thoughts going into it because it's a lot of information. And I've been using that as like a conversation partner to ask, like, do you have any questions? Like, I'll explain this and I'll be like, is there any questions? Like, do you get what I'm talking about or whatever? And like, what are the side effects or this and this, like potential side effects? I've been using that with my tuning the music blog post or whatever, because I'm gonna make it as a blog post and then use that blog post as an outline as a video. That's what Dan Coe recommends when he does his videos, and I'm gonna do the same way. And so I have to really talk to ChatGPT to clarify my thoughts because a lot of this stuff has been subconscious use, and I have to think back on like one of the questions it asked was like, "What is the first time you remember using this?" And I have to think back to what was the first time I realized the power of music on changing my emotions and how I realized that I could learn better at this, and I had to do all that stuff, and I talked about on the blog post because I made a blog post yesterday about how I was doing the mega post, and I had to post a little post about it, doing a post about my later post, and I was talking about how I was writing it, and I'll probably take a couple hours to do, and I was talking about how I was kind of sentimental about it because I have to realize these good and bad memories about me listening to music and the frustrations and the happiness and everything and how I actually use music. And I had to really dig deep back in my mind. I had to really dig deep to find that stuff. So I used that as a companion. I didn't really use it for logic, so I wasn't like, what's the effects of this, and this if someone did it, not me, but if someone else tried this for whatever. I didn't really use it for that. It was saying something about how it was kind of interesting the unique way that I did it. So I know other people have done the same thing as I've done, but they're not as methodized with it, or they don't have the same methods for doing it as me, and they don't have the same proficiency as me, or I've made some new implications on using this technique, or I've changed it uniquely to suit myself personally over time, and so I'm going to share that with you. But it's already been 42 minutes. I said this was going to be a short video. I gotta start studying. I gotta do painting for an hour. I'll probably do like a landscape painting. Sorry, my dogs are barking in the background. Um, I'll bring the camera closer so the microphone can be closer, but I gotta go. That was just a little update of my life and the benefits of dual back training, at least the first day, which is incredibly incredibly surprising. Sorry if my audio, but I was just so shocked that I had to share it with you. It was almost like a mind shift change, and so I wanted to share it with you. So I'll probably post the video, and I wasn't planning on posting this video. I was just gonna do a thing to like test my articulation and my thinking ability and everything on the flow. Nothing scripted, no notes or anything, but I decided to post it because it's been 43 minutes and I might as well. I don't have anything to hide, so I'll post it. So that's goodbye. This is the end of the video. I gotta go study, so I gotta do painting first. That's goodbye.